नमस्कार, न्याय टीवी में आप सभी दर्शकों का स्वागत है। कोर्ट राउंडअप की खबरें अब विस्तार से। शुक्रवार को रिटायर्ड हो गए सीजेआई जस्टिस एस ए बोबडे ने अपने विदाई भाषण में संचार की गुणवत्ता और बार और बेंच के संबंधों पर जोर दिया, ताकि न्यायपालिका अपने सबसे महत्वपूर्ण कार्य यानी नागरिकों के जीवन, स्वतंत्रता और संपत्ति की रक्षा करे। एससीबीए की ओर से आयोजित आभासी विदाई समारोह में सीजे बोबडे ने कहा, एक क्षेत्र जिसने बहुत ध्यान खींचा है वो है संचार और बार और बेंच के बीच संबंध। मैं किसी की आलोचना नहीं कर रहा हूँ और मुझे यकीन है कि दोनों पक्षों में गलत लोग हैं। हालांकि पारस्परिक सम्मान का रवैया न्यायपालिका के कामकाज के लिए आवश्यक है।
Now I request Honorable Chief Justice of India, Sharad Arvind Bobde, to deliver his address. Over to you,
My esteemed colleague, the Honorable Justice N. V. Ramana, the Chief Justice of India designate, my other esteemed colleagues who are online, Shri Venugopal, the Attorney General for India, Shri Tushar Mehta, Learned Solicitor General of India, Shri Vikas Singh, President SCBA, Shri Pradeep Kumar Rai, Vice President SCBA, Shri Ardendra Mouli Kumar Prasad, Secretary SCBA, Shri Rahul Kaushik, Joint Secretary SCBA, other members of the executive body of the SCBA, Shri Shivaji Yadav, President SCORA, and other members of the executive body of the SCORA, members of the bar, ladies and gentlemen. This morning I have discovered a new cause for becoming speechless, and that is having a lot to say and having had contradictory experiences, not knowing what to say. But nonetheless, I discovered that there are some things which one can say, and I shall endeavor to say them. Firstly, I must thank you all for your words. The system, the atmosphere is such today that nice words about one's surprises one. It is very heartening to hear some of the good things which you mentioned today. When I came here and when I took oath as Chief Justice, I had not imagined the complexity of the task which a Chief Justice has to perform. The judicial side, the administrative side, the management of the courts, sometimes problems of the high courts, dealing with the requirements of the bar, it takes, and other things. It takes time to understand the complexities, but there is no way around them. You have to understand and do your best. The litigation here is of a dazzling variety. The arguments are probably the best because it's the last court. The bar is capable and the lawyers very competent. The standard very high. The COVID pandemic required us, primarily me, because I was Chief Justice, to learn new things about communications, and we decided that video conferencing was the way forward. I am glad that with the help of my colleagues, particularly the E-Committee and even more so the registry itself, we we managed to tide over. We managed to face the challenge, and as I said earlier, I am proud to say, having examined the records of the various Supreme Courts of the world, that our performance during the COVID pandemic was amongst the best. One indication is that the Supreme Court did not fail to sit a single day because of COVID. Not only that, the number of working days in this last year have been more than any time before in the history of the Supreme Court. The most unusual thing was sitting before a television screen and being looked upon by a camera and speaking through a mic like we are doing now. It was initially difficult to imagine this kind of a virtual hearing for a court proceeding. But we have all got used to it, and I think that at least in a certain class of cases, it is here to stay. I have flagged earlier one of the intractable problems about the virtual hearings, and that is the new kind of inequality which it has created. I don't wish to dwell much on it, except to say that the inequality that already existed has been augmented by the fact that video conferences have become technology dependent, and your access to justice depends on your access to the technology, which means a certain amount of your circumstances are such that you can acquire all the devices necessary. This is a warning which I would also like to issue for the adoption of artificial intelligence, which I am sure is something which will grow in the future. We decided to adopt or move towards artificial intelligence because I think that it is futile to ignore it. I remember a time many years ago when computers were introduced and people started communicating with email. There were people who were wondering, why should one switch to email? But the truth of the matter is that when something like this is introduced, it catches on like wildfire, and there is no way of stopping it. Imagine the post office is closed down. Today you don't have post offices, and the government is wondering what to do with those buildings. I think artificial intelligence is in the same category. If we don't adopt it, we don't become familiar with it, we will find ourselves at a great disadvantage. It is with that spirit that artificial intelligence has been resorted to. And I must take this occasion to congratulate and thank my esteemed colleague Justice L. Nageshwar Rao for heading the committee so ably and bringing artificial intelligence to this stage. We have a very unique designation of being the guardians of the Constitution. And when I say we, it is both the bar and the bench. I say it because it is not just the duty of the bench to assume this role, but also of the bar. It is the bar's duty to assist the court to come to a right decision. Only a bar committed to the dynamic concept of the rule of law and conscious of its social responsibilities to assist the judiciary in molding the law creatively and imaginatively, especially in the service of the marginalized and vulnerable sections of the society. I wish to say something on how this can work best, and I'm not saying it with any sense of grievance, but there is one area where we need to pay a lot of attention, and that is communication and the relationship of the bar and the bench. I do not wish to criticize anybody. I'm sure there are people at fault on both sides, but the attitude and the mutual respect that is necessary for an excellent functioning of the judicial system sometimes is wanting in the narrative, which narrative, of course, if I may use that phrase. I want to say this not because we should become a society of people who pay compliments to each other and overlook each other's faults, but I say it because on this communication and this relationship depends the fulfilling of the most important function of the judiciary, that is to protect the life, the liberty and the property of citizens. Please understand, there is no need to become a mutual admiration society, but nonetheless we must work in a way that is harmonious, which is nourishing and which fulfills the purpose of the system. A small example, something which we were taught when we joined the bar, is it should be possible to accept that the judge doesn't agree with you. It does not reflect on either the skill of an advocate or his ability to persuade. It is possible, it's in human nature that everybody does not agree with everything. And when that happens, it is important to gracefully accept a decision which is contrary to your submission. I do not mean to lecture this time, and I must say that I have had no such problems except the very occasional problem of an over-enthusiastic argument. Having served at Bombay, Madhya Pradesh and now at Delhi, I would like to say with humility that the relationship between the bench and the bar is going to matter most to the future of the judiciary. There is something else which comes in the way sometimes, but that is a large subject which we will need to address later, and that is how the media and how the social media interprets our actions. It is said that a lawyer with a well-furnished mind alone can be a counselor at law. He alone can go beyond mere looking up precedents and guide his clients along the path of wisdom. If you remember what Walter Scott said, a lawyer without history or literature is a mechanic, a mere working mason. If he possesses some knowledge of these, he may venture to call himself an architect. In the hands of such a lawyer, the law truly becomes an instrument for securing justice. To the young members of the bar who are disheartened by the events of the pandemic, I want to say, don't lose hope. Carry on. Things will change. And it is true, as Vikas Singh pointed out, my heart always goes out to the young members of the bar. And I understand that it is they who need the greatest degree of encouragement. I do not wish to take up much of your time. When I was asked in the last couple of months, what is my day like? I used to say, my candle burns at both ends. It will not last the night, but are my foes and oh my friends, it gives such a lovely light. It won't happen tonight onwards. I will be free. I hope to go out of the Supreme Court. I will be leaving with a lot of beautiful memories. But I do hope in addition that I will be able to keep in touch with you, and I will certainly take the occasion to meet you all whenever possible, and I invite you to do the same. Thank you for everything. Thank you very much. जय हिंद।
समारोह में सीजे बोबड़े ने कहा, सुबह से मैंने अवाक होने का एक नया कारण खोजा है। बहुत कुछ कहने के लिए है, जो क्या कहना है ये न पता होने के अनुभव के विपरीत है। मुझे पता चला कि कुछ चीजें हैं जो कोई कह सकता है, मैं उन्हें कहने का प्रयास करूंगा। सिस्टम, वातावरण आज ऐसा है कि किसी के बारे में अच्छे शब्द वास्तव में आपको आश्चर्यचकित करते हैं। ये अपने बारे में अच्छी बातें सुनने के लिए बहुत अच्छा है। उन्होंने एजी के वेणुगोपाल, एससीबीए अध्यक्ष और वरिष्ठ अधिवक्ता विकास सिंह और सीजेआई नामित जस्टिस एनवी रमना के भाषणों के जवाब में कहा। फिलहाल बस इतना ही। अन्य खबरों के लिए जुड़े रहिए न्याय टीवी के साथ। नमस्कार।